Don't forget the Arekkz Gaming Festive Sweater and the limited edition pins are on sale right now. If you want to support all the cool stuff we've been doing, then you can pick one of these up and look super awesome in your office Christmas party. Hey, what's going on guys? Arekkz here, and today I want to talk about a brand new game, a game that is launching, I assume next year or at some point in the distant future, and that game is called Plan 8. You guys might remember that the other week I did a video speaking about Crimson Desert, which of course is the next MMO title from Pearl Abyss, because following G-Star, which was the Korean game show, Pearl Abyss had their own sort of game show themselves, or their own sort of keynote, so to speak, called Pearl Abyss Connect, and during that they revealed 4 different games. I've already gone over those ones. Of course, one of those was Crimson Desert, one of them was Dokkaev, the kind of Pokemon / MMO sort of catchy monster thing. There was another game which is sort of like a magical battle royale style game, and then there was Plan 8. And I haven't had a chance to actually speak about this just yet, but I really want to kind of do a video on it because the game looks really interesting. And for those of you guys that are of course subscribing to this channel and you typically play some of the games that I play, namely looter shooters, then this might actually be something you want to pay attention to, because Plan 8 is effectively a shooter set in an open world MMO kind of setting. And you know, the way these kind of games are described, the way that they have sort of marketed this, bear in mind at this stage, not a great deal is known about this game. There's the initial trailer that you're seeing in the background in this video, which does of course contain some in-game footage, so you can already see how visually impressive the game is, because Pearl Abyss are, they're good at making things look really good, alright? But the way they kind of loosely described it so far is of course, it being a shooter in this sort of MMO setup, and we've kind of experienced that, right? Destiny, Division, Anthem to a degree, those kind of games are, what we've typically referred to as like MMO light. They take aspects of MMOs, combine that with shooters and looting aspects, and that's kind of what you get. And Pearl Abyss are obviously very well known for doing MMOs, they know that stuff through and through, so this may well end up being slightly more involved than what you kind of perceive to be like an MMO light. It might be like a lot more RPG, a lot more MMO than something like Destiny or Division, but I feel like it fits within that same space from the way they've described it. To kind of give you guys a few sort of top level points from what they've discussed thus far, this is actually the first ever shooter that Pearl Abyss have worked on. They've done plenty of MMOs, they've done plenty of other games. This is their first time working on a shooter, but they do of course have the Counter-Strike co-creator on board, so it's fair to say they probably got some good ideas when it comes to gunplay. It's of course going to be an open world, big MMO style open world, and it's going to be releasing on both consoles and PC. They haven't specified which consoles, they just said consoles, plural, so I would assume Xbox and PS4, although having said that, they have also said this is going to be a next generation shooter, so they may well be targeting, especially given how good the game looks, they may well be targeting PS5 and Xbox Scarlet or whatever they decide to call that. Now, in terms of the actual game itself, the sort of setting, they said it will be set in this vast open world. They want to tell sort of a deep story as well. So while a lot of the time in MMOs you do tend to, I don't really want to say forget the story, but when the game goes on that long, you tend to focus more so on the gameplay loop than you do on the story, but they do want to tell, supposedly, a deep story throughout this game, which is, it seems like that's kind of something they were trying to sort of work more into a few of their games, because they even mentioned in something like Crimson Desert that they were also working really hard to try and tell that cohesive narrative. The game is said to have a lot of action-packed features, and they're referring to it as an Exosuit MMO shooter. That's kind of their coined term, and they said the exosuits are effectively robotic gear that you can wear that give you amazing abilities. And this is always kind of one of those sort of PR terms, but whenever they say these exosuit abilities will be like something you've never seen before, I'm fair to say that in the trailer there's some things that I'm pretty sure I've seen before. I've seen wall running, I've seen other stuff like that. That being said, there are also on the flip side some pretty cool things that we maybe haven't seen that I would definitely be interested to explore more. So I want to kind of take a moment to talk about some of these exosuit features, because while none of these have been called out specifically, if you actually look through the trailer, you can kind of start to get a feel for the flow of the game and kind of how things will pan out, because basically the feeling that I'm getting by watching this trailer is that it's probably going to start where we're sort of on the back foot. You see in this trailer some of the characters riding out on horseback when they're being chased by these futuristic looking mechs. You then see these people scavenging these parts they've taken from these mechs they've managed to take down, and you then see them suiting up in these sort of mechanical, bodged together sort of scrap heap challenge style mech units that they can then attach to their arms, their legs, to give them these powers. So I kind of get this feeling, and it sort of fits in with this whole MMO kind of thing, I get this feeling that you will basically be going around, taking out these mech units, farming them in sort of maybe a Monster Hunter fashion or like a looter shooter fashion, and using those to craft special exosuits which you can then use to get different powers. So if we take a step through the trailer, some of the ones they've shown, you of course see the typical like wall running legs, which is really cool. I mean, it's not the first game that's done it, but anytime you get to wall run, I am always on board with that. But obviously some legs that can kind of, let you move fast, slide, jump, run, that kind of stuff. There's also the torso augments, which will give you this kind of upper body strength with these strong arms. You can use that to break off car doors, swing around pillars, punch through walls, destroy enemies, that kind of thing. There appears to be this interesting augment for your arm where it's like a shock wire, almost like a Scorpio thing, but instead of it being like, get over here, it's more like you shock them and take them down, so maybe that's sort of like a stealth augment. There appears to be some kind of defense unit, whereby if you get rushed by enemies, it just sort of slices them in half and just cuts them down, which could be really cool. There's also a flight unit where, they jump out the window and suddenly they get this sort of jetpack and these wings that turn around, which is awesome, especially if you could actually use that to fly freely. That would be very cool. And there's also what I'm kind of coining as like a stealth unit, because you got these sort of Dr. Octopus style legs, but the way the character sneaks in and uses it to take out the enemies, I feel like that's more so maybe like a stealth unit, because maybe you can use that to move through quietly. Now, obviously this is just a snippet of some of the stuff they've shown. They did of course say during their presentation that these will give you a whole array of different abilities. There'll be plenty of different things, and I would imagine this is where some of the customization stuff would come into play in the game, because obviously, in a game like this, in a big, vast MMO with like lots of different skills, lots of different abilities, lots of different things you can do, then this, especially if they're selling it as like an MMO exosuit shooter, I feel like that would be the core primary hook, right? The ability to kind of go back and customize your exosuit, add in different abilities, add in loads of different things to change the way you play. That could be very, very exciting. I mean, I love my exosuits, right? I play and have played a lot of MMOs. I've played a lot of these looter shooters, and this almost kind of has that sort of, if you took The Division and combined it sort of with Surge and to a degree Anthem. I say Anthem loosely, mainly just because they reference specifically exosuits here. Javelins are a little bit more than exosuits, and obviously this is more like in a sort of rundown setup as opposed to like a futuristic city, but I feel like those three games are probably the best way to kind of describe it. Anthem, Division, Surge, merge it together, and you kind of get Plan 8. That's at least what I'm sort of the vibe I'm getting from it, which is kind of cool. I mean, honestly, from what I've seen, I love my exosuits, I love my MMOs, I love my loot-based games. If it ticks all those boxes, then it's definitely something that I personally would be keen to check out. Obviously, I do worry. There is the one big worry being a game from Pearl Abyss. A lot of their titles are quite heavily monetized if they fall within the kind of Korean MMO market. I don't like to kind of go into these games with the sort of negative attitude. I do like to try and sort of be a positive person and just like hope for the best. But we have seen time and time again a lot of Pearl Abyss's titles get very heavily monetized. So if there is one of those things that they end up working like pay-to-win elements or just like heavy pay-to-convenience in, that is going to be really annoying. So I kind of just hope they, especially if they kind of market it more so for like the Western audience, because this seems like the sort of thing they're trying to create more so to break into the West. So I feel like if they're going to do that, they probably need to be a lot more mindful of that, because some of that stuff, some of that like pay for convenience stuff, they tend to sort of get away with it a lot more so in Korea. But I feel like if it comes over here, if they really want to grab that Western audience, tap into the sort of people that play things like Division, Anthem, Destiny, Borderlands, that kind of stuff, then they're going to have to be a lot more sensible about how they tackle that. I understand that in these kind of games, you need to keep services running, so, you can monetize it in certain ways, just make sure they do it the right way and it's not like paying for tons of convenience and power and all that stuff like that. Anyway, it's far too early to talk about that stuff. Honestly, when I see new stuff like that, I mean, it's worth mentioning, but I don't really tend to worry about that stuff right now, because at this stage, we literally have one trailer, very little information, the fact that this is going to be a next-gen game, so I feel like it'll be quite a while before we actually get to see this and play this, so I'm going to follow it because it looks interesting. It's something that I want to know more about. Hopefully you guys are interested in it. If you do want to know more about it, definitely let me know in the comments down below. Definitely stick around, because as and when they do tell us more, as and when we kind of get to see more gameplay and stuff, I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date. And then we can of course follow it on the run up to launch and just sort of see how the game starts shaping up. Either way, that's it for the time being. That's a quick look at Plan 8. That's some of the stuff that I've thought about it so far, some of the stuff that I've seen, and definitely what I'm looking forward to. Of course, if you guys did miss the video I did the other day on Crimson Desert, which is the other title, or one of the other titles coming from Pearl Abyss, I'm also going to link that down below, because that is a very kind of different departure from this. That is more kind of traditional MMO. There's supposed to be like a really big story in that one as well, but this is obviously more future tech. That is more kind of traditional MMO stuff. So, depending on what style of game you like, then I'll link that down below as well. There might be something you want to check out. Either way, for the time being, that's it. Drop your questions down below, and of course stick around for plenty more. I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. Remember to hit that subscribe button and also click on the little bell icon to turn on notifications so you don't miss my next upload. Also, don't forget, you can check out 269 and Paradise Central streaming over on Twitch 6 days a week. You can find a link to the multi-stream in the description box down below. Be sure to drop by and get involved. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.